Hello, Head Injury Jane here. I've been doing a lot of research for Head Injury Jane. And for all of us is what I'm trying to do. This is what I mean. My goal is from the time I realized what was happening to me, which was, well, I can't believe, well, I think that if I had had a known family member, someone who's known me my whole life, after my head injury last year, they would have noticed that I was different. And I think they would have pointed it out earlier than when I discovered it on my own because I was the injured person. So obviously I wasn't subjective, right? I mean, I was the one who was the walking wounded. So, this year, spring, summer, after I started the blood pressure medication, as I've stated before, and it came right down with super low dosage blood pressure medication. So I was fine with the BP, and all of a sudden, all these other things they were still there. They were louder. They were present. I kept waiting for them to go away. I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, when I knew my blood pressure was under control and that everything I was experiencing had nothing to do with my blood pressure, I went into shock when I began to understand what was happening to me. Okay, but I was very ignorant in the beginning, very terrified. I mean, I knew that it was dangerous, but I really didn't. I wasn't prepared to start presenting symptoms like I was presenting in April and May and June. God, June was all those months, they were terrifying of this year, 2014 for me. And I immediately turned to the medical professionals for help. And as I have stated before in some of my videos earlier, I had not really received the proper care early on for my TBI with the doctors that I first began to see in April, May, and June. So there was but that doesn't matter. I'm on the right trail now, but I was turning to the medical professionals to help me, and there was a failure, in my opinion, and a huge gap in information of what I was experiencing. And so, after going through all that terror, obviously I decided that I was going to research TBI and learn everything I can about TBI. And share that information and knowledge because I want to bridge that gap for anyone who's experiencing a head injury. And maybe there's nowhere to turn. I mean, maybe your doctor isn't giving you information on traumatic brain injury, and maybe you were treated wrong when you went to the ER for your head injury because it was a closed TBI, so you weren't bleeding, so they just kind of go, oh, you're fine. I suppose, because that's what happened to me. Of course, we now know that was not right. That was inappropriate treatment, and I started going, well, that doesn't matter. My point was I want to teach and share everything I am experiencing about my head injury. So when I set up Head Injury Jane on Facebook and on Twitter and here on YouTube, I knew immediately that some of the videos where I'm breaking down and all that stuff, I wanted those in there, and it's liable to still happen because it almost just happened. And that's where I'm going with this. As I'm learning more and more and more about what's going on with me, I've started researching the specific area of my brain that hit. So I can know what's damaged. Well, it's actually bilateral between the two, and it's the parietal lobe, or the old mind would be able to spell it very quickly, but it Parital, I believe, but it's the lobe, it's the right, that area right in the brain. So I have all the symptoms of that area when you go to the page. So I've been researching this and I've been sharing this information. Of course, the stuff that pertains to me, I'm printing out in a digital form so I can keep track and record of actually what's happening to me because it's pretty profound. So I've been looking at all this information and realizing that yes, this is physiological. The brain is it's injured. It could be worse. It could be better. But so today I'm doing, I've been working on Head Injury Jane, trying to share new information as it comes out, and came across a PDF pamphlet about traumatic brain injury. Matter of fact, it's titled, give me just a moment. It's a traumatic brain injury PDF from PDF Alive. Anyway, I'm going to share it, but there's a pamphlet. All it is a pamphlet, a 2-page pamphlet in a PDF form. And the second page of the pamphlet has the symptoms of a serious traumatic brain injury. And I have all of them. And you know what? No matter how much, well, they are this. Processing speed, so there's cognitive and academic. Right. Oh God. So, attention, working memory, logic and reasoning, mind, long-term memory. See there, my mind just said mind. There's no word in mind right there. Or no, that's my brain right there getting very confused very easily. But long-term memory, auditory processing, and visual processing. Okay, so as I am sharing this information, right? I mean, I'm reading this information before I share it, which means, I have, because it's important for me to make sure that I'm sharing good, solid information and knowledge. So one of the things that's become clear just with that pamphlet right there, like when I started reading it, I was like, oh gosh, it was like a kick in the chest a little bit, because no matter how hard I'm fighting this and how hard I'm trying to get myself back to 100% facilities, it's not happening. And the more I'm reading, the more I realized I was let down. I was let down by the medical field. And I am exhibiting symptoms of my fallout of all different kinds. It's like, it's a lot. And it's not getting better. So, I'm terrified that this is how it's going to stay. I mean, some of the short-term memory stuff is just astounding. I just, and the video I did where I had the visual stuff going on in this eye, like where it started small and got big, all kinds of things are happening. And see that visual stuff like that, seeing that open up on the eye, first the right eye and then the left eye, I've never experienced that before a day in my life. And that's why I was saying, I think from the summer, I kept saying I feel like I'm declining. There are days where it's like, because I'm personally experiencing new symptoms as I go. So there's no reprieve, right? And the ears, of course, they never stop ringing. I mean, the fact of the matter is, though you do not know me and I may not look injured, I'm very injured, and it's hard to just navigate sometimes. And I mean, to tell you that all this information that I'm researching and learning and sharing to help everyone, I'm educating myself in the process, clearly, correct? Yes. And it makes me feel good when I can check things off the list, I'm like, oh, I don't have that, I'm very fortunate, and I don't have that, and I'm very fortunate. So I am grateful that my injury was not more severe, not more debilitating. But I wish I had my full facilities. Much more than not, and there was something I was just getting ready to say and I lost it. There was something I was about to say that was going to be an important share and I just lost it. But I am learning along the way. And what I am learning is, like I said, it's heartbreak from, not receiving the proper medical care in the beginning when I was expressing to everybody that, I hit my head and it was very serious. Took in notes to the doctors, and then I did everything I could as a person to get care for myself other than just screaming and throwing a fit, and that would have just got me thrown in a loony bin, as one of the medical practitioners thought I was having a mental health breakdown when I was in the middle of a crisis of an injury. She let me down so badly. But in either case, I am still experiencing things, and it scares me. And the research that I'm doing reiterates what I was fearful of. Why I was trying so desperately to get the treatment early on. Why I was trying to get someone to treat me properly, medically. So, it's shocking to me when I see this. I mean, I am glad to be educating. I'm glad to be able to do what I'm doing right now. But I should have been in rehab a long time ago for whatever has happened up here. In full. I mean, we know there's a traumatic brain injury at this point. There's no doubt whatsoever. There's real serious fallout. And I can't imagine anyone, who doesn't have proper guidance going through this. It just seems so unfeasible to me that I would be, I don't know. It just seems like, so I want to get the word out. I want everyone to get the word out about head injuries, especially when they're closed traumatic brain injuries. Because any head injury, okay, don't get me wrong, but when you get an open spot, most people will nurture that and take care of that. And, there's no such thing as a minor head injury. We know this. But I think that we need to have better resources at the fingertips of doctors, even when they're just the most basic of doctors. You want to give some information. I actually emailed my doctor saying, do you have any just basic information that you can give me, or can you guide me? I mean, this is in an email. Can you guide me about this? Gosh, I'm so sorry. Apparently I just got all moist. I got upset, and it's kind of wintry here, and I don't know. Anyway, I think that we need to have better resources. And it does bother me that we do not have better resources. And that's why I started Head Injury Jane. That was why. But the journey I've been on to right now is terrifying. And the more I learn, the more I see, yeah, that's me now. And there is a total new mind, but I don't mind the new mind so much. I don't like the short-term memory loss. Obviously, I don't like all the ear ringing and all the other physical jazz that happens with me. But I guess I should say physiological, but it is physical. It's an attack. It's a shutdown in the head. But I have been, I am learning about what's happening to me as I go. And I know I keep reiterating this, but it's shocking to me sometimes. It's very shocking to me because it's happening to me, it's new. But like I said, I don't totally dislike new mind because I'm much girlier now than before the head injury. And I was also, I think I was more quick to temper before. After the head injury, I'm much more mellow. So there has been some positive fallout. It's not all negative, but the short-term memory stuff, obviously that bothers me a great deal. I still haven't found that tape, by the way. I've been thinking about that tape for the last week, too. And the video I made about it. See, I remember that. So, that's it. I wanted to come on here and talk about, I'm learning as I go about what's happening to me with what I'm sharing with you. My goal from the beginning of Head Injury Jane has been to educate anyone who wanted the education who was looking for information um, on head injuries from just personal experience. Clearly, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not doling out medical advice. I'm sharing medical information that perhaps you can share with your loved ones in a preventative measure. I think we need to have some type of, we have it for a lot of other diseases that are as predominant or maybe more predominant, but I think we need to have some kind of annual campaign where we really have a global voice about Head Injury Awareness Day, and we really make it a big deal. We need to somehow incorporate it, because the fact is, it's changing a lot of lives, and we're all kind of ignorant about it. I mean, before now, I knew to put ice on my head immediately, and this is one of the things that bothers me recently, and this is one of the things I think we should be advocating for, is I think that when there is an athlete or anyone who, but most certainly in a controlled environment where we're having professional athletes or high school athletes, or where there's a gathering and it's, what is it, sanctified? I don't know. The medical staff should ice the head. If there's ever if there's ever a knock to the neck, the head, the back of the head, anything, anywhere on the face, ice it. Especially if the person is unconscious, put them in ice. Get that head in ice. And see, it bothers me when I see these sports injuries, and they always put these neck braces on them, but you never see them putting ice, and they just got a blunt force trauma to the head. It's good that you're thinking about their neck, but you need ice on that trauma first. You need to immediately ice. I mean, that's your best bet, other than getting immediate medical attention, and then obviously stabilizing the rest. But yeah, it's terrifying. So I think we need to better make the world aware of immediate, and then have better. I think that the ER doctor who felled me, for someone who patted me on the hand and told me he knew very well what a serious head injury looked like, and I wasn't suffering from one, and did not x-ray, nothing, sent me out the door. There needs to be, hi Monk, there needs to be better care for a head injury. If someone loses consciousness and garbles, you do not need to send that person away if there needs to be imaging. You need to image that area, with the best piece of equipment that you have in that hospital, up to now what we're learning, that what the SPECT is now even better than an MRI. I've been sharing this on Head Injury Jane on Twitter and Facebook. YouTube is not as friendly, as a wall with sharing that kind of, links and posts and things of that nature. It's just obviously more for videos. Anyway, I've gone on quite a bit. Like I said, I was just having an emotional experience to that, and it was the first time in a while I felt truly prompted to come on and go, hey, I have something to say. And this is just a terrifying journey for me right now. Still, I had long hoped that by now I would be, well, first off, I had no idea that that's what I was saying, that I had no idea that you could hit your head and there'd be some fallout. Of course, I was associating most of the fallout with the blood pressure. I was definitely in a haze, and I was associating it all with blood pressure, though. So in my mind, I had created that everything that I was experiencing was due to the blood pressure, and it had nothing to do with the blood pressure. That's when I went into trauma, but I had no idea what I was experiencing to a certain degree, because I really wasn't. There was a huge letdown or gap in information about head injury and traumas. So the whole point of Head Injury Jane is to educate at a layman's level to better protect our heads and help our friends and family members avoid head injuries and better understand head injury, to save people. I should have been treated much sooner. And, so I was felled several times over at this point, but I'm on the right track now, and I do know that as far as my medical team is concerned. But I'm definitely not happy about what's happening to me. I know no one is when you have any type of anything, right? So I don't mean to sound like a little whiner, but it's so limiting. I can do, I mean, I'm still doing tons of things. I'm not saying, but I have to police myself in like so many ways. It's like every task is so much more. If I turn on the stove, I actually now don't turn anything on the stove without turning on the timer on the stove. Anything. I don't care. It's a pot of water. It does not matter. Um, because I will forget. I mean, it's that I have to have these constant reminders, and you know, it's my whole life is just completely rearranged. Well, I want to apologize, I suppose, to a degree for my emotions. I knew that I almost got upset downstairs. I did not cry, but I do. It does affect me. I am human. I am on this journey. We are on this journey together. So, like I said, like I have stated before, it's about sharing the real experience of what I'm experiencing. So the goal is to go on this journey hand in hand. I do feel that sometimes I am in a decline from this head injury. And I've even said, wow, I wonder if I've knocked a tumor in there, because, is this just the injured brain, or is it that and something else now? Is there other things going on? I mean, there's definitely damage in there. So we've got to get inside and figure it out. But I had long hoped I would be better before now. When everything started, I was like, okay, but I am becoming more mindful. I still injure myself. I still hit my elbows. I burn myself. I took photos. I think I may have shared that before. Sometimes I have random bruises on me and I have no idea where I got them. There's like no reason I should have a bruise there either, right? There's just nothing to correlate. But so I'm still having issues with that. My spatial awareness is still I'm better. I'm It's hard to say that I'm practicing mindfulness because obviously I forget sometimes from breath to breath. But I am thinking about it more. And certainly when I do whack myself, I go, oh, mindfulness, but then it's gone like that again. But there's a lot I'm still working on. And I, I'm not particularly happy about that fallout at all. But that's it. That's all I wanted to come on and say, is that I just, as I'm learning, as I'm sharing, I'm also, trying to make sure I understand what's happening to me as much as possible. So, and then share it with the world. That's why that's why I like Twitter and Facebook for sure, for sharing links and information, because it's readily accessible. YouTube, I could put in a bunch of links, but no one's going to sit there and spend the time looking at the links. When you see the photos, or you have the better. So anyway, take great care, watch your heads, and have a very happy holiday season.